Day 22 of being laid off from my job and pursuing my dream of being a full-time game dev. As I mentioned yesterday, the main focus of this week is updating everything in my current project to replicate correctly for multiplayer. To do this in a logical manner, I'm breaking everything up into chunks, starting with the Goblin. Everything the Goblin was doing needs to be replicated correctly. I started with Crouch as that was a little easier than dealing with my Interact system. To do this, I'm using the built-in CMC Crouch and Uncrouch functionality and calling it locally for immediate feedback, and on the server where I also add to the gameplay tag container, which triggers the actual crouch animation. Luckily, Unreal makes it pretty easy to test this stuff, so here on the top we have the server, and the bottom we have a client. And as you can see, the crouching is being replicated on both properly. And even though I just did this yesterday, I can now change it back to green. For Interact, I broke up the logic into two server-side RPCs, one for starting Interact and one for ending Interact, which actually ended up being pretty easy. The trickiest part was making sure the radial progress UI was only running client-side. To do this, I check if the player controller is locally controlled and add to it if so. I then added a rep notify to their progress and simply update the radial bar when the value changes. Even though the treasures aren't part of the Goblin, I went ahead and replicated them to make showing Interact working easier. So here's the server picking up a treasure and holding Interact. And here's the client doing the same. As you can see, the results are the same, which is indicative of the code working properly. Well, that'll do it for day 22. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.